our previous lecture, we have discussed about the we were doing the exercise of chapter number 14, reproduction. Okay, bete. Today we will discuss the we have discussed the MCQs and short questions of chapter number 14. Today we will discuss the long questions of chapter number 14, and they are given on page number 92. So please see on your book, page number 92. The first question is given: what are different ways by which prokaryotes, protozoans, and fungi reproduces asexually? What are different ways by which prokaryotes, protozoans, and fungi reproduce asexually? So, better you all of know that we have done about prokaryotes in binary fission. Okay, in binary fission, we have discussed that when there is a sexually reproduction in uh, bacteria. Okay, we have done the example of bacteria. When there is bacteria, so we have discussed about the bacteria, the bifurcation in bacteria. So under the example of prokaryotes, we will write the example of bacteria. Under the example of protozoa, so we have discussed that there are unicellular organism in the unicellular organism inside the unicellular organism, and in which we have discussed the example of amoeba. Okay, and reproduction in fungi. Okay, so fungi can also reproduce by spore formation and by budding. So we will discuss these methods under these headings. So there is question number 2 is given. Explain the different parts of the plant that help in natural vegetative propagation. Explain the different parts of the plant that help in natural vegetative propagation. So take out page number 75 and 76 in your book. Page number 75. On page number 75, you can see natural vegetative propagation is given. Okay, in which you can see the methods are buds, corms, rhizomes, okay, stem tubers, suckers, and leaves. Okay, so these are the six methods which we can discuss in under the heading of natural vegetative propagation, and its answer will be start from page number 75 to till page number 76. Now next long question. Question number 3. Explain how the epigel and hypogel germination are different. So this answer is given on page number 83. If you take out page number 83 in your book, page number 83 in your book, you can also see the last paragraph of your chapter. Okay, this paragraph is on the basis of the elongation of hypocotyle and epicotyle. There are two types of germination, and differences in epigel germination. The hypocotyle elongates and forms a hook pulling the cotyledons above ground. For example, beans, cotton, and papaya are examples of seed that germination in this way. In hypogel germination, the epicotyle elongates and forms the hook. In this type of germination, the cotyledons stay underground. So examples are pea, maize, and coconut. Okay, so these are two examples are given. This is the difference between in epigel germination and hypogel germination. Okay, I hope you understand the you have to understand it. So this is the last paragraph which is given in your book. This is the answer of question number, your long question number 3. Okay, come to now question number 4. Fourth long question. Why what conditions are necessary for the germination of seeds? So its answer you can find on page number 84. Page number 84 in your book, and this is conditions for seed germination. And what are these conditions? Conditions for seed germination are water, oxygen, and water, oxygen, and temperature. Okay, so in these conditions, we had discussed that seeds of most plants have low water contents and germination absorbs more water for their growth. So this water help in digestion in the stored food, and it also helps in the elongation of epicotyle and epicotyle. Okay, and why the plants need oxygen. So oxygen is essential for the respiration in the cells of embryo. And the third one, temperature, is seeds differ greatly in their temperatures requirements for germination. The optimum temperature for the germination of the seeds of more plants ranges from 25 degree to 30 degrees centigrade. So its answer is given on page number 84. So please underline in your book. Now, next long question. This is question number 5. Outline the methods of asexual reproduction in animals. So we all of know we have discussed different methods of asexual reproduction in animals. Among them, first we had discussed bilocation, then we had discussed fragmentation, parthenogenesis, budding, and spore formation. So these are 5 methods in which animals can reproduce asexually. So you have to give just outline. Okay, you will make arrow and show these all methods. Now next is test question number 6. This is long question. Write a note on the male and female reproductive system of rabbit. So take out page number 87 in your book. Page number 87 in your book. Okay, Betty, you can see reproduction in rabbit. So first the male reproductive system is given, in which we have discussed different parts of the reproductive system. First we discuss the scrotum, then we discuss semi-inferior tubules, then collecting ducts, then vas deferens, then urethra, then semen, then seminal, then prostate gland, and then the Cowper's gland. Okay, and you also have to draw diagrams along with this long question. Okay, so this is very important. If you learn this long question with the help of diagram, it should be very easy for you to explain and learn. Come to Now come to next page, page number 88. This is female reproductive system of rabbit is given, in which the first part is about ovaries, then there are follicles, then fallopian tubes, then there is a uterus. Okay, then there is a horns, that all ovaries in the shape of two horns in the body of a female reproductive system. Okay, after that you can see there is another part, vagina. Okay, and then there is a cervix, and then there is a vagina, and then there is a cervix. Okay, so these all parts are given in your book. Its answer is given on page number 88. So this question answer will start from page number 87 till page number 88. Now come to next long question. Question number 7. Describe the processes of spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So now take out the page number 85 in your book. Okay, Betty, you can see actually it is starting from page number 84. This is the introduction, formation of gametes, but you will start your answer from spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Okay, so its answer is on page number 85. So first of all, you can see spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis passes through different processes. First, spermatogonium are formed, then mitosis is happened, then primary spermatocytes are formed, then meiosis 1 is happened, and then secondary spermatocytes are formed, and then meiosis 2 is happened, and after spermatocytes spermatids are formed, and from spermatocyte the sperms are formed. Okay, and you can also see in your book that the sperms have the shape of sperm is like it has a tail, it has acrosome, it has head, it has nucleus, it has neck, and it has a mitochondrial ring. Okay, so this is the structure of spermatogonium. Now we will discuss the oogenesis. Okay, first oogonium are produced, then mitosis is happened, and primary oocytes are formed. After then meiosis one is happened. Due to that, two secondary oocyte and polar bodies form. Then meiosis 2 is happened, and meiosis 2 from secondary polar bodies form, and then this is formed ultimately in the form of egg cell, which is called ovum. So in your long question, they are asking about the difference between spermatogenesis and oogenesis. So you will make the column and you will write the difference in a column. Okay. In first column, you will write the all points of spermatogenesis, and in the second column, you will write all the points of oogenesis. Now your last long question. Your last long question, and this is, why do we consider that overpopulation is a global problem? Overpopulation is a global problem. We all of know that overpopulation producing many problems in a global level. Because of overpopulation, people the world need more hospitals, more schools, more residential areas. So that's why they are cutting the forests, and there are many other problems. Okay, so its answer is given on page number 88. So take out page number 88 in your book. Page number 88, the topic is given, growth in human population and its consequences. Okay, so this is given in the form of it is given in the form of paragraph, but you can write in the form of points. Okay, so from every paragraph take important points and then write in a and then make bullets and write these all points in your register. So its answer will start from page number 88 and it will be ended above AIDS are sexually transmitted disease. Okay, so it will be ended above a side box which is given the United Nations Population Fund. Okay, above that it will be ended. The last line of your answer is of overpopulation and to stabilize the population to match our resources. Okay, so now your chapter number 14, reproduction, has been ended. I hope you understand the lecture. We have discussed the MCQs and short questions in our previous lecture. Today we have discussed the all long questions of your book. I have told you again and again that all long questions are very important, but mostly the questions, long question which comes in the board exam, they comes from your topics. So you have to learn this chapter according to the topics. And chapter number 14 is very important because first long question comes from chapter number 14 in your comes from chapter number 14. Okay, now this is has been ended. I want to give you the review of your chapter. First we discuss the introduction of reproduction. That reproduction is a natural process in all living organisms. Because of that they can produce offsprings of like themselves. Okay, reproduction have two types. First is called asexual reproduction, second is called sexual reproduction. In asexual reproduction, only one parent is needed, and in sexual reproduction two parents are needed. Then first the topic which we had discussed, that was asexual reproduction in animals, in which we have discussed five methods: binary fission, fragmentation, budding, parthenogenesis, spore formation. Okay, we have discussed this method. After that we have discussed asexual reproduction in plants, in which we have discussed that all plants do asexual reproduction through three important parts, and they are called vegetative propagation, and these are roots, leaves and stem. Further, vegetative propagation divided into two main parts. First is called natural vegetative propagation, and second is called artificial. In natural, further we discuss about the rhizomes, forms, bulbs, and rhizopus. Okay, and in the suckers, stem, tubers, and leaves. And in artificial vegetative propagation, we discuss only two methods, and they were about cutting and grafting. After that, we have discussed that how a sexual reproduction can happen in plants. So in that topic we discussed that when there is a sexual reproduction in plants, in which we have discussed the parts of the flower. We all of know that flower is a reproductive part of a plant. So we discussed that a flower can be divided into four parts. The outer layer is called sepals, then there are bright color petals, okay, and they all have their specific function. Then we discuss about actually we discussed the outer part is called sepal. Then we discuss second part is called corolla, okay, then gynoecium and then androecium. So androecium and gynoecium actually the main parts. In simple words we call them stamen and carpel. Stamens are the male parts and carpel are the female parts. So when there is a sexual reproduction in plants, so because of that, first they make spores in their body. So first generation or first production is called spore formation, and after that that is called sporophyte. And when they make gametes, and when early embryo is produced inside the body of a plant in the ovary, and then it began to grow, then it convert into a gametophyte generation. So at a time when there is a sexual reproduction is happening in a plant, so actually it is doing double fertilization. Okay, so at that time it is doing double fertilization in the body. Next one which we have discussed about, after that we have discussed sexual reproduction. We discuss about the fertilization, that how fertilization is happen. Fertilization means a young one, a living organism is able to produce a young first like itself. So fertilization also have two types. One is inside fertilization and other is outside fertilization. Inside fertilization we have discussed the example of rabbit, that it gave birth to their children. And outside fertilization we had discussed the example of frog and fish, that male and female living organism unite together and they release their eggs and sperms at the same time at the same place in their surrounding, and because of the fertilization is happen. After that we discussed the reproduction system in rabbit. So before starting the reproduction system in rabbit, we have discussed that how gametes are formed. So I have told you gametes means the sex cells. So the male gametes are called sperm and the female gametes are called eggs. So after that we discussed the process how the gametes are formed. So the process in which the male gametes are formed, that is called spermatogenesis, and the process in which female gametes are formed, that process is called oogenesis. So after this process, then we discuss in a detail the male reproductive system of a rabbit, then we discuss the female reproductive system of rabbit. And I'm telling you again and again that for these long questions your diagrams are very very important. So you have to do the practice of these diagrams, and you also draw all these diagrams into your registers. Okay, after that the last topic was about the consequences of consequences of overpopulation in the global world. So in which we have discussed different problems. If an area is going to be overpopulated, so it needs more residential area, it needs more hospitals, it needs more schools, it needs more um, um, grounds. Okay, so because of that deforestation is happened, and because of that many issues are raised in that areas. And the last topic was which we discussed in Chai, it was about the AIDS. I have told you that AIDS is a sexually transmitted disease. Okay, and it can transfer through semen, through dirty blood, and through injections and through syringes. And it is a disease in which a person is caught by a HIV virus. HIV means immunovirus. So due to this virus directly attacks on white blood cells, and we all of know that white blood cell is very important inside our body, because they attack against germs. So if any germ, bacteria or virus enter into our body, At the time, white blood cells began to work and they attack against the germs, and they kill the germs, they kill the bacteria, and they kill the virus. So our immune system can be strong due to our white blood cells, and AIDS is a disease which directly attack on our immune system. And definitely if a person become weak due to its immune system, so it can cause many other infections in its body, and ultimately a person can leads to be death. So these all topics we have discussed in chapter number 14. Then we discuss the MCQs, which is given your exercise. We also discuss all short questions and long questions. So hopefully I can understand that you must understand the chapter. If beta you have any confusion, you want to ask any question, you can ask me. Now your lecture has been ended. Inshallah, in our next lecture, we will discuss chapter number 15, that is about inheritance, that how a living organism transmit characteristics from one living organism to another living organism. And we also know this truth that all living organisms inherit their characteristics from their parents. Okay, so these all things we will discuss. Okay, what is the meaning of inheritance, how the living organism transfer their properties, and what is the role of Mendel's experiment. Mendel was a scientist, actually he was an Austrian monk, okay, and he discussed the variations and transmission of genes from one living organism to another in a detail. So we will discuss all these things in chapter number 15, and we also discuss about the gene, we also discuss about the chromosomes. Okay, what are the genes, so why they are important in a living organism, and what is the function of chromosomes in the body, and how they transmit the characteristic from one living organism to another living. So now your lecture has been ended. Thank you so much. If you have any question, you can ask me.